Travel along, Catholic pilgrims, for 1 year as we read through St. Faustina's diary. Join me, Amy Thomas, each day for a short reading out of the diary which brought us a deeper understanding of Christ's divine mercy. Hey, Catholic pilgrims! It's day 45 of our readings from St. Faustina's diary. So today is going to be a little different because we have a little bit more to read today in order to keep the flow going. So I'm going to be reading a little bit more than I normally do. It's not going to be pages and pages, so hang in there with me. Today's readings are pretty uplifting. So where we have gone with Sister Faustina in the past to the depths of, basically hell, today is something different. And we're going to be talking about graces and the peace that Christ gives when we open ourselves up to his graces. So it's going to be some good readings. However, I just won't have a lot of time to talk about them on the other end. So we will get started right away. Our readings today are from Notebook 1, numbers 142 through 145. When I was set at peace and taught how to follow God's paths, my spirit rejoiced in the Lord, and it seemed to me that I was running, not walking. My wings were spread for flight. I soared into the very heat of the sun, and I will not descend until I rest in him, in whom my soul has lost itself forever. And I subjected myself totally to the action of grace. God stoops very low to my soul. I do not draw back, nor do I resist him, but I lose myself in him as my only treasure. I am one with the Lord. It is as if the gulf between us, creator and creature, disappears. For a few days, my soul was in a state of continuous ecstasy. God's presence did not leave me for a single moment, and my soul remained in a continuous, loving union with the Lord. But this is in no way interfered with the performance of my duties. I felt I was transformed into love. I was all afire, but without being burned up. I lost myself in God unceasingly. God drew me to himself so strongly and powerfully that sometimes I was not aware of being on earth. I had impeded and feared God's grace for so long, and now God himself, through Father Andres, has removed all difficulties. My spirit has been turned towards the sun and has blossomed in his rays for him alone. I understand no more. I have wasted many of God's graces because I was always afraid of being deluded. God drew me to himself so powerfully that it often was not in my power to resist his grace when I was suddenly immersed in him. At these moments, Jesus filled me with such great peace that later on, even when I tried to become uneasy, I could not do so. And then I heard these words in my soul. In order that you may be assured that it is I who am demanding all these things of you, I will give you such profound peace that even if you wanted to feel troubled and frightened, it would not be in your power to do so today, but love will flood your soul to the point of self-oblivion. Later, Jesus gave me another priest, Father Sapotsko, before whom he ordered me to reveal my soul. At first, I did so with a bit of hesitation, but a severe reprimand from Jesus brought about a deep humility within my soul. Under his direction, my soul made quick progress in the love of God, and many wishes of the Lord were carried out externally. Many a time have I been astounded at his courage and his profound humility. Oh, how wretched my soul is for having wasted so many graces. I was running away from God, and he pursued me with his graces. I most often experienced God's graces when I least expected them. From the moment he gave me a spiritual director, I have been more faithful to grace. Thanks to the director and his watchfulness over my soul, I have learned what guidance means and how Jesus looks at it. Jesus warned me of the least fault and stressed that he himself judges the matter that I present to my confessor, and he told me that any transgressions against the confessor touch me myself. When, under his direction, my soul began to experience deep recollection and peace, I often heard these words in my soul: strengthen yourself for combat, repeated over and over at various times. Jesus often makes known to me what he does not like in my soul, and he has more than once rebuked me for what seemed to be trifles, but which were in fact things of great importance. He has warned me and tried me like a master. For many years, he himself educated me until the moment when he gave me a spiritual director. Previously, he himself had made clear to me what I did not understand, but now he tells me to ask my confessor about everything and often says, I will answer you through his mouth. be at peace. It has never happened to me that I have received an answer which was contrary to what the Lord wanted of me. When I presented it to the spiritual director, Father Sapotsko, it sometimes happens that Jesus first asks certain things of me about which no one knows anything, and then when I kneel at the confessional, my confessor gives me the same order. However, this is infrequent. When, over a long period of time, a soul has received much light and many inspirations, and when the confessors have confirmed the source of these inspirations and set the soul at peace, if its love is great, Jesus now makes it known that it is time to put into action what it has received. The soul recognizes that God is counting on it, and this knowledge fortifies it. It knows that to be faithful, it will often have to face various difficulties, but it trusts in God, and thanks to this trust, it reaches that point to which God is calling it. Difficulties do not terrify it. They are its daily bread, as it were. They do not frighten or terrify the soul, just as a warrior who is constantly in battle is not terrified by the roar of the cannon. Far from being frightened, it listens to determine from which side the enemy is launching his attack in order to defeat him. It does nothing blindly, but examines and ponders everything deeply, and, not counting on itself, it prays fervently and asks advice of other warriors who are experienced and wise. When the soul acts in this way, it nearly always wins. There are attacks when a soul has no time to think or seek advice. Then it must enter into a life or death struggle. Sometimes it is good to flee for cover in the wound of the heart of Jesus without answering a single word. By this very act, the enemy is already defeated. In time of peace, as well, the soul continues making efforts just as in time of battle. It must exercise itself and do so with energy, otherwise it has no chance of attaining victory. I regard the time of peace as a time of preparation for victory. The soul must be ever watchful, watchfulness and again, watchfulness. The soul that reflects receives much light. A distracted soul runs the risk of a fall, and let it not be surprised when it does fall. O Spirit of God, director of the soul, wise is he whom you have trained. But for the Spirit of God to act in the soul, peace and recollection are needed. Okay, so I know that's a bit more than what we normally read, and so much is packed into this, and I just don't have time to go over all of it. So, if anything sticks out to you, be sure to think about it and, really bring it to prayer. The thing that stuck out to me the most is her talking about how the graces that she receives just completely fortify her soul. And the thing that most affected me was what Jesus says in 143, that even if you wanted to feel troubled and frightened, it would not be in your power to do so today, but love would flood your soul to the point of self-oblivion. That, man, oh man, that is like an answer to one of my prayers. Because like I've told you before in other podcasts, I have read about the lives of the saints, and I have read about their martyrdoms and what they went through and how they just went to their deaths like champions. I mean, it's incredible. And I have always wondered, how did they do that? I mean, I know they loved God, and I know that, man, their souls were super pure, but I don't know how you face down those kinds of horrific deaths. And here's the answer. Christ gives the answer. He just gives you such profound peace, and it's a supernatural thing. It just floods your soul that you couldn't even be frightened or troubled if you wanted to be. Wow, that explains it. And that is amazing. Now I understand. And, he might be thinking, is she super worried that she's headed off to martyrdom? And I'm not super worried about it. But I've always wondered what was in them that wasn't in me. And this explains it, that it's Christ has prepared their souls in some fashion. Like she says, you are my master. You have been training me. I've gone through difficulties, all for this moment. And then God takes care of the rest. And that's just incredible. I just find that really incredible and very reassuring. That if God calls me to something, and even if I felt troubled or frightened, if I just accept the mission that he's called me on, and I open myself up to the graces that He's going to give me, I'll be able to do it. I'll have this profound peace. I won't even be able to be troubled. I can just do it. It explains why, the saints were able to just travel to faraway lands, live with lepers, go into war. I mean, it explains all kinds of things. So this today was what stood out to me, and I am so thankful to have read this. I don't know if I got to this exact point my first time reading, but I didn't underline it, and it looks like I might have stopped right before this, so I guess I never really made it halfway through. But reading that just made my whole day. So I hope it makes your day too, Catholic pilgrims. And I hope you found some other things in there, to take with you today. So I know it's a longer reading. Tomorrow we're going to talk about prayer. So I will see you back for day 46 for readings from St. Faustina's diary. And as always, live the faith boldly and travel well.